Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tyranny. Yes, so I am going to be doing a Let's Play of this game, an immersive Let's Play, like my other series, with the exception of Dark Souls, which is the casual Let's Play on the channel. I have never played this game before. I've also never played Pillars of Eternity. I didn't know which one was better, in quotes. I don't know if anyone really would say that one is better or the other. They're both, from what I can tell, phenomenal games, made by a phenomenal studio, Obsidian. I just thought Tyranny is the newer one. Came out not too long ago, actually, and I've been wanting to play it, so here we go. We're gonna start a new game. Okay, game settings. The Path of the Damned difficulty. Oh boy. Enemies receive a bonus to most stats, have the most efficient AI, and will very frequently use abilities. Party members take more wounds during combat and when being knocked out. This difficulty level can only be chosen when starting a new game. Oof. Hard difficulty is suited for veteran players of isometric RPGs, such as Pillars of Eternity, who are looking for a challenge. Survival requires micromanagement and optimization of stats through items, spells, and abilities. Enemy AI is more efficient and uses abilities more frequently. If I go to Path of the Damned, can I lower it down to hard difficulty? I'm kind of wondering, what's Expert Mode? Expert Mode disables a number of helper features in the game. Players who want to rely on their own faculties, and intuition while playing the game should play Expert Mode. This option is selected when you start a new game. It cannot be enabled in-game, and if disabled, cannot be re-enabled in that game. Trial of Iron is, if it's enabled, only one save slot is permitted. If your party is defeated, the game ends. Your save is lost, and you must start again. Recommended only for those who seek a greater challenge. This can only be modified when starting a new game. Okay. This game can apparently get insanely difficult. I think I'm just going to stick to hard. I don't want to do normal or, I guess, story mode is there easy. I really do want a challenge, but I think Path of the Damned might be outside of my range. We're going to do hard, and that's all we're going to do.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spymaster and Archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tyranny, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tyranny brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
Oh, and now we make a character. Wow, that's a very interesting startup. So, the bad guys won, I guess, and now we're just dealing with the consequences. Alright, we're gonna play a male. I'm not sure what type of character I want to play. I was thinking kind of, maybe a spellcaster, but I would like to use Sword and Shield. I wonder if you can be kind of a, I don't know what the term for it would be, a magic and fighting style. Skin tone, I like that. This looks good. And then how do we... Oh, here we go. Roll. In the Northern Empire, where you were born, men enjoy equal protections under the laws of the Overlord Kairos. In the southern lands of the Tiers, only men may own or captain ships, but real estate is restricted to women. Men may lease, but durable ownership of the land in the Tiers always passes to eldest daughters or sister. Most sons enter their father's profession by their mid-teens. Those without a profession or family lands to work can find purpose by pledging service to one of the Overlord's mighty Archons. Criminals, derelicts, and others are often conscripted into the armies of the Archons. If a child cannot forge his own skein, I'm not sure what that is, he will certainly find one in battle. Okay. Okay, so, face. We can change our face. Can I zoom in on my character at all? Guess not. That one looks good. Let's do facial hair, or, head, just hair. Just hair. What do we got here? That one looks pretty cool. Looks like a paladin. That one's okay as well. Very fancy. Got the mullet going, not bad. Small ponytail, and just kind of short hair. You know what? I like the paladin look. I think that's pretty cool. Nice golden hair. Actually, I think we'll go just for a brown hair. Okay, beard. Nice. What do we got? Oh, I like that one. That one's pretty good. Got the handlebar mustache going on. That one's pretty good as well, but you know what? I like that one. Yeah. Okay, voice. Male sneaky.
That wasn't so hard. Moving cautiously.
A male noble.
On it. Huh. Heads up, we have company.
Male aggressive.
You learn something every day. I'll just hold on to this.
Can we actually give our character female voices?
Quiet down!
That's
My wounds are slowing me down. See that? It's a battle!
Okay, I like male sneaky. We can do tattoos. That's pretty neat. What do we have? Are they all base... Oh no, they're not all on the arms. You can get war paint. That's pretty neat. Ooh, I like the tree. I really like the tree. We're gonna do the tree. The tree is cool. Could be a red tree. No, it's gonna be a green tree with dark roots. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, portrait. Who kind of looks like our character? Gonna be kind of hard to find. That one actually kind of looks like our character. Lots and lots of portraits. Okay, but the second half here is the female characters. So we're wanting to look around this area. That one could look like our character. It is a spell caster from the looks of it. Yeah, that could be our character. I'd have to change the beard to match it though, because it will drive me absolutely crazy if our character doesn't look like in the picture. It shouldn't, but it will. Alright, and that is as close as we're going to get to that. Could do the facial tattoo, but we'll just imagine that this is what we look like in the future when we get a tattoo. Let's go with that. Okay, next. How did you join Kairos' army? A pit fighter, a hunter, a guild apprentice, a noble scion? Scion? I don't know. A diplomat, war mage, a lawbreaker, or a soldier? What's hunter? I'm always a fan of the simple lives before being thrown into the big adventure. When the leader of your home village spoke out of turn one time too many, agents of the Overlord put the whole town to the torch to contain the spread of insubordination. The Bounding Viper tribe came across the smoking ruins of your village, and when the beast's matriarch found you frozen but unafraid, the mighty leader took you in and raised you with the protection of her tribe. For years you lived with these wild beastmen in their migratory homes throughout the mountains, but the Bounding Vipers were a dying breed. Each long winter took a greater toll than the last, and once the dwindling tribe was too weak to defend its lands, disfavored soldiers came to dispense of the ravenous scavengers your tribe had become. Finding a human amongst the wild tribe, the disfavored soldiers made a point of taking you alive. News of the wild child of the north eventually spread to the Archon of Justice, and he ordered you released from captivity and delivered unto his court. I really like that origin story. This would be a lot to read if I went through all of these. And War Mage. I mean, I did want to be... let's read the War Mage. Few have the combination of wits and courage to be accomplished casters and warriors, and those cursed with such combination of talents are invariably pulled from their mundane lives and assigned to the armies of the Archons. Your earliest memories are a painful slog of training, study, lecture, and exhaustion. All the elements of being groomed for battle. You knew better than to ask what became of your family, nor to question the missives allegedly penned by their hand that were part of your earliest lessons in reading. When you reached adulthood, Tunon the Adjudicator came to the barracks and laid claim to your life. Seeing you as too valuable for the crucible of battle, the Archon of Justice deemed your life better spent dedicated to the art of punitive legal remedies. Though you had much to learn in matters of civil discourse, none could deny your bright future as Tunon's next great enforcer. You know what? I just love the idea of the Hunter backstory, so we're gonna go Hunter. Primary expertise. You were trained in the following combat style: Sword and Shield, Great Sword, Short Bow, Shock Spells, Vigor Spells, Atrophy, Frost, Unarmed Dual Wielding, and Javelin. Oh, that's cool. I like that they have Javelin separate. What's Vigor? That one I'm curious about. The School of Vigor is a utility branch of magic that focuses on granting bonuses to yourself and your allies. Okay, so giving yourself and allies boons. That's pretty good. Sword and Shield. Wielding a weapon and shield puts you in the front line of combat, standing between enemies and your allies. Holding a shield will slow down your attack rate slightly, but give you good defensive bonuses. Okay, now see, this is primary expertise, and I'm wondering, because I can click one and then go next, right? Oh, choose ability. So I'm thinking Sword and Shield primary, and then I'm assuming this is secondary expertise. That would be more magic, is what I'm thinking. Primarily Sword and Shield, secondary magic. So choose an ability, Shield Slam or Sunder. Ooh, they both sound very cool. Sunder, deliver a powerful overhead attack that reduces the target's armor. Okay. Shield Slam, slam your shield against a target, dazing them for a moderate duration. Okay. You know what? If I'm going to go Sword and Shield, I think I would like to be more of a defensive one. Weaken the enemies around me, protect my party, and then use my magic to kind of help out a little bit more. So I think we're going to do Shield Slam so we can disorient enemies. So then if we go next, secondary expertise. Here we go. Now, we have Shock, Frost, and... what's Atrophy? Atrophy magic drains the skills and attributes of your enemies, weakening their attacks and making them easier to kill. Okay, now that's pretty good. That would go really well with us being more of a defensive support character for our team. Vigor would give everyone bonuses, though, so let's see. Oh, that is awesome. Unarmed short bow. I didn't know that. I forgot that you could click these and actually see what it looks like. War Mace is awesome. Javelin's pretty cool, and that's Sword and Shield as well. Well, not Sword and Shield, but Javelin and Shield. Wielding a javelin is a good compromise between melee and ranged. Thrown weapons deal more damage than bows, but cannot attack from as far away. They also have the benefit of being able to switch between ranged and melee attacks depending on the enemy's distance. Huh. So then what's the difference with, oh, Spear and Shield. Interesting. So Javelin can be thrown, Spear and Shield. Wielding a weapon and shield puts you in the front line of combat. Oh, I think because I did Sword and Shield, the other alternative melee weapon would be a spear then. But it's kind of the same thing. Well, I'm sure it's not the same thing, but If you really want to focus on wielding a shield and a melee weapon, I'm guessing you can do that by having your primary and secondary being 2 different melee weapons and your shield. I definitely want to do something different though. So, shock. Mages skilled in shock magic can frequently interrupt their enemies, preventing them from executing their attacks. That sounds pretty good. Frost magic is an offensive school that focuses on slowing enemies as well as dealing cold damage. Frozen grasp. Envelop a target in harsh winter cold, leaving them frozen for a time. Charged fist. Oh, that sounds amazing. Channel an explosive surge of electrical energy, releasing it all at once on a nearby enemy, interrupting them and sending them flying back. That's pretty good as well. Vigor, what would we get with this? Titan's touch. Fill the target with a surge of greatness, granting them a bonus to might and vitality. Atrophy. Touch of atrophy. Gather entropic energy and channel it into an enemy, sapping the target's might and vitality. An offensive school of magic. Shock would be pretty awesome, to be honest. I think I'm going to go for shock. I just love the sound of using lightning attacks with the sword and shield. I think that sounds awesome. Okay, now, characters' colors. This is cool. I love this level of customization they're giving us right at the front. Red looks pretty good for that. Yeah, brown pants. Banner customization. We can even change the banner? See, now I'm just playing around with all the colors. White looks pretty good too. No, I like the red. I like the red. Dark red? Red. Okay. Banner. So we can change our banner. This is pretty awesome. Okay. What do we have? That helmet's pretty good. I like this design. That's a cool design. Well, oh, there we go. I like that. That's awesome. Make the flag. White and red? Yeah, I like that. No, a white flag looks like I'm surrendering. Never mind. Never mind. There we go. That looks better. I like that. Name. What is our character's name? Ishvel. Okay, attributes. So, we have 8 points available to spend. Might. Oh, and then I think the dots. So if I... Okay. So... Oh, okay. So the attribute is recommended because you're training sword and shield. Finesse because I'm doing sword and shield. Quickness because of shock. And wits because of shock. Okay, now, might determines physical strength of a character. Increased might leads to more powerful attacks and stronger abilities, as well as increasing the endurance defense. So might, currently at 10, 0% attack and ability strength, 0 endurance defense. Okay, finesse describes a character's physical and mental precision. Finesse is used to determine accuracy of attacks and spells, as well as increasing worn armor's chance to reduce a hit type. Okay, interesting. Quickness determines how often a character can use their abilities and spells in combat, reducing cooldown durations. That sounds very powerful. Wits describes a character's mental acuity, their ability to observe their environment and pick up on clues. Wits is used to increase spell strength as well as increase the magic defense. Okay, so wits, if I am not wrong, I feel like wits is actually going to come up if people are trying to deceive us, or if there's something out of the ordinary. Maybe having higher wits will allow us to pick up on that. So, I'm thinking, let's get 3 points into these, and then maybe, oh, you know what? Let's get 2 points into those, and see, I could just do an even spread. Might, finesse, quickness, and wits. Just increase those all by 2. I don't know, do I want one to be more than the other? See, that's spell and cooldown reduction, which is pretty nice. This is more accuracy and armor deflection, attack and ability strength. You know what, maybe... Let's do this. Let's take 1 out of quickness, and let's actually move that into wits. I think I don't know, I just like the sound of that. But, alright, you know what? Primary is sword and shield. I do have to consider that. So then maybe this would be better served in finesse, so that I have more armor deflection and accuracy. Yeah, it improves accuracy of attacks and spells, so I think that's good. Okay, now we're at skills. So, control lightning and magic staff, one-handed weapons. So at least it does tell us what it recommends that we do. We have 20 points here that we can spend. So, one-handed weapons and magic staff. I kind of want to bring magic staff up to the same level as my one-handed weapons. Control lightning. Maybe let's bump that up by 1. Athletics determines a character's ability to traverse terrain, as well as their ability to execute complicated moves in combat. Athletics is also used in dialogue to determine your ability to intimidate or physically overpower someone. Let's get that up to 30. Lore skill determines a character's ability to decipher information and put together clues from fragments of information. This skill is critical for magic users who wish to learn new runes to power their spells. Lore is also used in dialogue to determine what you know about the history of the world or to impress others with your intelligence. Parry. The parry skill defends against melee attacks and spells. Higher skill ranks will reduce damage from any attacks and may lead them to miss altogether. Okay, so I've got all of my skills at around 30. Control lightning maybe I should bring up to 30. And then I can start mixing things up. So maybe we can get 3 points there, an extra point here. Actually, you know what? No. I really want these support skills, actually. I would love to, because these seem like they're more involved in conversations. And I think, honestly, lore would be really interesting to have. Let me do this. 3 points in athletics and 3 points in lore. I like that. So I'm putting a little more into conversations just because I really want to get the most that I can out of conversations. And hopefully my combat skills will be okay. Okay, how do you want to continue? Conquest. Selecting the Conquest option will allow you to play through Kairos' conquest of the tiers, choosing how your character was involved in the invasion. This gives you the most control over the starting state of the game and how other factions will react to your character. Quick Start. Selecting the Quick Start option will bypass the Conquest phase of character creation. You will select from a list of available templates for how your character was involved in Kairos' conquest of the tiers. This will affect the starting state of the game. Let's do Conquest and control as much as we can about our character.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the tiers, our home. The last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. 2 armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, march south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior. In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tiersmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the tiers sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
Conquest. During the conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the tiers, shaping the world through which you will adventure over the course of the game. This is really cool. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the tiers respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. 428 TR, Year 1 of Kairos' conquest. That's so cool. The Bastard City. The Bastard City stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tiers. Built upon a natural harbor at the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tiers, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic statues as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' army. Taking this city would send a message to the rest of the tiers: Kairos will be insurmountable. Select a token on the map to begin. Okay. Infiltrate the tiers. Both armies sent their forces to prepare the way. Gates of Judgment. In the first major engagement of the war, Kairos' army crossed the mountains and established a foothold. So, infiltrate the tiers. Both armies sent their... Let's try infiltrate the tiers. History would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of the conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advanced units of both armies preparing for the coming of the war. The Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? Oh, and here's the gates. So we can read up on both of them. Gates of Judgment. The armies of Kairos took the battle to the Gates of Judgment, trumpeting the opening call of the conquest of the tiers. The two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, brought their distinctive sense of order and chaos to the assault. You went to battle alongside the army whose approach best suited your strengths. What's the Scarlet Chorus? You rushed with the chaotic mass of the Scarlet Chorus, flanked the Bastard City's army, and drove them to flee. The Disfavored. Standing shield to shield with Kairos' ironclad elite, you advanced on the mercenary army purchased by the nobles of the Bastard City. The Legion wanted to send a message to the tiers that superior breeding and disciplined training would win the day. I think I'm going to go with the Scarlet Chorus. The Scarlet Chorus is a little more than a gang of thugs and their captive slaves. Rather than organize under commissioned officers, the Chorus follow a hierarchy seemingly ruled by whoever has the bravado to command and defend their position. At the head of this chaotic pecking order, the Archon of Secrets, better known as the Voices of Nerat, treats the Scarlet Chorus as his personal army. The Scarlet Chorus often suffers tremendous losses after battle, only to swell in the aftermath, when captured enemies and collateral prisoners are given the cruel opportunity to join or die. Interesting. Disciplined and battle-hardened, the Disfavored are an elite legion in Kairos' army. They spearheaded the conquest of the Younger Realms, finding themselves always outnumbered but never outclassed. Led by the steadfast and dutiful Graven Ash, whom they follow with obsessive devotion, they are committed to imposing their interpretation of the Order upon the relative lawlessness of the tiers. The Legion only tolerates Northerners in their ranks, priding themselves on their high standards and cultural purity. See, the Disfavored seem a little more organized and a little less terrible, not having prisoners and such. But at the same time, I'm not a fan of their cultural purity stuff going on. That's a little too weird for me, to put it lightly. I think I'm going to go with the Scarlet Chorus. They got their problems, but they seem a little bit better. It's the lesser of two evils, which I have a feeling is going to be how this game goes. You caught the mercenary army unprepared for the mania and disorder of the Scarlet Chorus. Your forces overwhelmed the tier's defenses in a few short hours, hacking and burning their way into the continent. Any mercenaries who survived the battle found themselves initiated into the Scarlet Chorus, tortured by ruthless interrogators, or made the sport of competition as the army marched ruthlessly forward. Okay. Feeding the Host. Against the most optimistic projections, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus made short work of the local defenses. They did so well that the troops were plentiful, but food was scarce. You only had time to execute one plan to secure your provisions. You authorized Disfavored troops to confiscate food and supplies from traveling merchant caravans. The tiers had already spent ignorant centuries glutting themselves outside of Kairos' law. You authorized the Scarlet Chorus to send their horde out to pillage from farms and villages, spreading the infamy of Kairos' army prepared the Tiers for the reality of the impending conquest. To judge the enemy, the soldiers of the Tiers fell by the hundreds, and Kairos' army could not agree on how to handle what few survivors they dragged back to camp. Befitting your role, the commanders turned to you to decide the fate of those who occupied prison pens. There were only enough prisoners to support the plan of a single army. The disfavored needed slaves to haul their gear. Oh, I guess disfavored does have slaves. Dig latrines and keep their pallets warm at night. You consigned the survivors of battle to their subservient role among Graven's Ash's noble troops. You gave prisoners the chance to serve in Kairos' army or die. The Scarlet Chorus was in need of extra troops to fill up the vanguard, and your former enemies would occupy those slots nicely. I guess we'll go with the Silent Chorus again? You armed a cooperative ex-soldiers with scrap weapons and tossed them into the vanguard of the next Scarlet Chorus assault. Those who survived were welcome to take up the arms and armor of the fallen and eke out a desperate struggle to survive in Kairos' army. After their first victory, you rewarded the new recruits with the opportunity to execute their wounded or reluctant countrymen. Oh, what a wonderful opportunity. Taking the Bastard City. The armies of Kairos amassed around the Bastard City, the first bastion of the Tiers to fall. Both armies longed to storm the walled outpost, the Scarlet Chorus howling for plunder, and the disfavored forming an unbreakable shield wall. Your prowess on the field of battle had carried them this far, but there was one more step before total victory. Both of the armies had inspired schemes to take the Bastard City. What did you support? What is this third option? Oh, interesting. You led a mixed band of disfavored and Scarlet Chorus scouts over the city walls to sabotage its defenses. We gained the ability of concealing shadows. Create a cloud of obscuring shadows and dust. For a short duration, enemies that use physical attacks against you have a significantly increased chance to miss. During this time, your attacks will also be less effective. Oh, that's a bummer. You joined the Scarlet Chorus in setting fire to the city and blocking the gates. The defenders would surrender or burn. We earn Searing Palm. Gather heated energy into your hands and release it onto a foe. The target ignites in flames, burning over time. That sounds amazing. You join the disfavored vanguard in a direct assault upon the city gates. No fortification would stand before the unstoppable legion. We gain warriors' respite. Stand your ground in the face of defeat. During this time, you will regenerate health rapidly, but your damage is significantly reduced. Interesting. So it's half damage for 12 seconds, but we get an improvement of 15% health every 3 seconds for 12 seconds. Huh. I think, again, we're going to go with the Scarlet Chorus. Mostly because I want Searing Palm. That sounds really cool. Is that not the right reason to do it? Very loud. Very loud. It was passing strange to barricade the very gates you sought to cross, but it all made sense when the fires began. The Scarlet Chorus sent a constant rain of flaming arrows over the walls of the Bastard City, a plague that lasted through long days and tireless nights. By the end, the blaze was too much for the city defenders to contain. Citizens crowded at the gates, pleading to be freed from their smoldering city. You and your army were happy to oblige them. When the gates opened, they opened from inside. Oh. The Bastard City settled into a new state of normalcy. With every tower displaying Kairos' banner, your name was whispered alongside rumors of a decorated career to come. The armies divided into 2 fronts and migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as judge and overseer of the settlement of Lithian's Crossing or as a war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. You may only choose one of these locations. So we can go Lithian's Crossing. Its deposits of iron made the settlement of Lithian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kairos sent the forge-bound smith mages of exceptional skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Tunon the Adjudicator sent one of his Fatebinders to ensure the enforcement of Kairos' law. Or Apex. The troops of the mountain realm of Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding their time as their neighbors in the Bastard Tier fell. In the second year of war, a joint force of the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountains to take control of the Tier's central valley. Okay. I think we're gonna go, let's see. This location. This is Apex. This is Lethian's Crossing. I think we're gonna go to Lethian's Crossing. .429 TR, Year 2 of Kairos' Conquest. Years ago, Lethian the Bold founded a small merchant town at the intersection of ancient old walls. A pact between the settlers and a mercenary company meant that caravans were able to travel without fear of bandits or bane, and the town thrived in modest insignificance. Lethian's Crossing drew Kairos' attention for the iron deposits in the surrounding hills. With the region under Kairos' control, the northern smith mages could set up workshops to refine ore and arm the Disfavored with the finest weapons in the known world. The Archon of Secrets dismantled the mercenary support with a generous bribe, taking the crossing in a bloodless victory. Tunon dispatched you to travel alongside Kairos' forces and bring order to the region. The iron must flow. Kairos' smith mages worked day and night to create weapons. No one faulted their dedication, yet production was slow. The plans that came to light proved divisive to the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus. On one hand, any additional manpower was needed for fighters, not forges. On the other hand, the celebrated weaponry of Kairos' army needed to be fiercely guarded. The Cult of Siren. Siren, Archon of Song, used her arcane charm to lure locals into joining Kairos' army. As a patroness of the Scarlet Chorus, her efforts were critical to the conscription of new recruits. When an enthralled, disfavored soldier joined her cult, his company feared that the Archon was growing out of control and needed to be stopped. Interesting. Let's do Iron Must Flow. What's the disfavored want to do? The Scarlet Chorus took refugees. Wait. Draw. Oh, okay. Anyways, the Scarlet Chorus took refugees from the recent influx and forced them to serve in Kairos' military. You repurposed these individuals to haul wagons of iron for the Smith Mages. This proved an inconvenience to the Scarlet Chorus, who relied on their force of numbers to be effective in the field. You conscripted help from a local tribe of beastmen. Their strength would more than offset their disobedience. The Disfavored protested that savages have access to the secrets of iron, but their voices were few compared to the support of the Scarlet Chorus. Yeah, honestly, getting beastmen in there sounds way better. Especially because it means less people at the forges, more people out fighting, and then you've got the beastmen there doing the forge. Though the beastmen did raise me, so does that mean that I kind of betrayed my own people? That's gonna bite me in the ass later, I just know it. The Scarlet Chorus were overjoyed to learn of a beastmen conscription, and graciously lent their support to your cause. The local beastmen were subdued and yoked to iron-bearing wagons, where their boundless strength and tirelessness proved critical to the Smith Mages. The Disfavored grew agitated about exposing the secret of iron to savages. You attempted to allay their concerns, but your words fell flat before a stubborn, uncompromising audience. Pick of the Armory. Since you aided the production of weapons, commanders of both armies lobbied for additional arms. They offered all manner of bribes to be next in line for a fitting session with the masters of the forge. How did you state the lust for iron? Or a guardian's due. Kairos' armies used Lethian's Crossing as a reprieve from the war. The city grew more crowded as a mercenary army hired by the Archon of Secrets occupied the barracks, where they drained the resources and escalated tensions. The Disfavored wanting nothing to do with the Cell Swords, but the Scarlet Chorus sought to invite them into the fold. Let's do Pick of the Armory. You let the disfavored have the iron, keeping the best tools in the hands of the elite. The Scarlet Chorus saw the slight as an obvious display of preferential treatment. Oh, come on, Scarlet Chorus, I've been siding with you for almost everything. You gave iron arms to the Scarlet Chorus commanders, knowing they pay very well for any killing tool. Weaponry of such acclaim was typically reserved for the highest disfavored officers, but you were open to changing tradition under the circumstances. Or remain neutral. You allowed no changes to the orderly dispensation of iron, and punished those who tried to bribe you twice. No, I mean, honestly, we've got these great weapons. Let's give it in the hands of the people who are going to use them to the best of their ability. Scarlet Chorus, I've sided with you so much, you can deal with it. Passing out iron to even the hardiest Scarlet Chorus gang boss would have been a waste of resources. Most of them couldn't wield arms more complicated than a pitchfork, and their chances of surviving a fortnight were suspect. The disfavored, by contrast, knew how to use and respect a capable weapon to its greatest potential. Perhaps more importantly, the disfavored remember their friends when a time of need arises, and their loyalty runs as deep as any vein of ore. Who controlled the crossing? Tragedy struck when a mercenary hired by the voices of Nerit injured a forge-bound artisan, leaving him unable to practice his craft. Tunon ordered the mercenaries to leave the city in the hands of Kairos' more responsible servants. Only a token garrison could be left behind while the armies returned to the front. As the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus showed increasing tension and hostility towards each other, Tunon decreed it best that only one force control the crossing. Who controlled the crossing? You granted control of Lethian's crossing to the disfavored or to the Scarlet Chorus. You know what? I gave those really good weapons to the disfavored. Let's put them to use and they can take control of Lethian's crossing. The disfavored placed a modest garrison in the settlement of Lethian's crossing. Though the force was larger than might be needed to police the small settlement, protecting the forge-bound ironsmiths became the true agenda of the defense force, as these magical craftsmen kept the disfavored invasion force suited in iron. Relieved at the departure of the Scarlet Chorus, the citizens of Lethian's crossing felt they got the least of two burdens. You received word from Graven Ash thanking you for your decision. The forge-bound and their weaponry could not be entrusted to the voices of Nerit. With the mercenaries expelled and Lethian's crossing under new leadership, Kairos' forces congratulated themselves on bringing order to the settlement and guaranteeing a productive flow of resources. Over the course of this diversion, the army front advanced further into the tiers. Your skills were needed in the realm of Azure, Stalwart, or the Vellum Citadel. You may choose only one of these locations. Okay, so we have Azure. Kairos dispatched the Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Kairos' conquering gaze fell upon the Vellum Citadel, its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. With its easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was most formidable realm in the tiers. Let's go to Vellum Citadel. .430 TR, Year 3 of Kairos' conquest. The Vellum Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by the other major realms. Legends said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the Great Library Fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kairos. Song of Encerrament. Siren, Archon of Song, used her powers to enthrall enemy mages who crept beyond the Citadel walls. After Kairos' forces rounded up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing the new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge, a crime under Kairos' law, with the Scarlet Chorus. Chain of Command. A detachment of Kairos' army marched on the Vellum Citadel, expecting an orderly surrender. As they neared the main gates, a blast of arcane energy struck the commanders dead. Suddenly, the highest-ranking officer alive, Kairos' forces looked to you for the next steps. The call weighed on your mind, as it had an immediate influence on soldiers' losses. You ordered the expendable Scarlet Chorus to attack, commanding the disorderly mob forward to give the elite disfavored a chance to withdraw. Though a costly maneuver in terms of lives lost, this assured the survival of the most capable and effective soldiers. You ordered the disfavored to advance their shield wall, knowing that a handful of Kairos' elite soldiers could hold off the attack until the Scarlet Chorus retreated. You knew the disfavored would despise you for any losses at the Scarlet Chorus's expense, but that was a small price to pay for saving lives. Ooh, this one's tough. The thing about the Scarlet Chorus is that if a lot of them die, that's sad, yes, but they've proven time and time again that their numbers can just very quickly come back to us. If we let the disfavored die, that's tough to replace. So I think we're gonna get the Scarlet Chorus to do this. Ever itching for a fight, the howling mob still recognized your maneuver, the sacrificial move that it was. Those from the Scarlet Chorus who ran headlong into battle made promises of a reckoning upon their return. Thankfully for you, hardly any of them limped back in one piece. Those who survived made fevered whisperings their grievances, naming you as a villain to the Scarlet Chorus. Oh boy. Plunder of Parchment. The army captured a supply caravan overflowing with arcane books. When the disfavored started a bonfire of forbidden texts, the Scarlet Chorus rescued the tomes from the flames and attacked. Lost to the mountains. The disfavored learned of a hidden enemy enclave and sent scouts to locate it. They never returned from their mission. The remaining disfavored soldiers demanded that you send the Scarlet Chorus to retrieve their scouts, but the Scarlet Chorus flatly refused to fall into the same trap. They recommended that the scouts be treated as wartime casualties. Let's see, you consigned the disfavored scouts to their fate. If the elite of Kairos' army could not return on their own, then there was no sense in wasting the lives of the Scarlet Chorus to find them. Or you ordered the Scarlet Chorus to send scouts to locate and rescue the lost disfavored patrol. I think the Scarlet Chorus are right on this one. They're supposed to be the elite of the elite. So if they can't make it back, then truth be told, they're probably dead. The siege went on without the bulk of the disfavored detachment, a troubling absence that left you wandering in spite of your order. Days after you made your ruling, a resounding clang echoed across the expanse between the Vellum Citadel and your camp. A team of scouts sent to investigate recovered a crude iron sculpture shaped in a mockery of graven ash. The materials, the blood-stained armor of your lost soldiers, torn and reshaped with enemy magic. Food and morale dwindled as the siege party realized the enemy would win this war of attrition. Tunon sent word that Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an edict of fire on the enemy. The parchment arrived in a slender case of engraved iron. Written on it the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. Opting to give the enemy no quarter, you proclaimed the Edict of Fire at the first moments of dawn, granting the enemy no warning of the destruction to come. Though the chorus insisted your actions doomed their spies, the disfavored applauded your decision. Claiming they still had spies within the Citadel, the Scarlet Chorus urged you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace and warned them of their doom, giving the chorus spies and the enemy a chance to run. I think we're gonna do that. You confronted the mages with a warning and hoped the message was received. The hour before sunset, numerous figures were spotted fleeing the citadel. As the sun dipped under the horizon, you read the words of the edict. The earth shook and red-orange light glowed in the fountain of the sprawling citadel. Bubbling up from under the library, a torrent of lava, heaved with explosive force, gushed from windows and between loose bricks, melting winding trenches in the surrounding land. Days later, the flames still raged on, the conflagration continually fed and renewed by the power of the edict. The Edict of Fire. The armies of Kairos left the devastation of the Vellum Citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life. But a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. You didn't have long to rest before Tunon called you into service once more. You were one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as you journeyed off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks, dwarfed by the inferno, the last grasps of survivors, or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. Conquest complete. You have reached the end of Kairos' conquest. Do you want to continue or erase your progress and start over? That was so much reading, let's carry on.
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance, but months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons. As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you.
Why would he do that?
You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Welcome to Terratus. If this is your first visit to the world of Tyranny, watch for these windows to help you become familiar with the game. You can disable tutorial messages at any time from the game options menu. Thank you. Can I...
Right.
Aurora. Kairos, the Overlord be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. The Disfavored warrior clasps her gauntlet to her breastplate, the traditional salute of her legion. The commander wouldn't say why the governor of Lethian's Crossing would be coming, but since we have no forges here, I imagine you're here to knock some sense into the voices of Nerit. She catches herself, clearing her throat with a smile. I mean, mediate with the Archons, so that we might agree on a plan to wipe out these Oathbreakers. Oh, I really love this. I love being able to highlight on something and actually get information on it. Okay, conversations. Conversations involve you, another character, and sometimes additional parties like bystanders or companions who may interject. The choices you make change how the story develops and will build a reputation for your character over time. People in the world will learn of your reputations, good and bad, and respond accordingly. Okay, your character's attributes, skills, history, and gender, as well as decisions you made in the conquest, may all open up options for you in dialogue. These options are not necessarily superior to the other responses, but give you a wider variety of choices to select from. The manner in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. And that is so important. I love that they, right up front, tell you, those special options might not be better. It's just something else that you can do. I absolutely love that. Okay, each character who speaks to you will display a banner beneath their portrait, just like hers there. These banners indicate which faction the character is allied with. The tooltip on these banners will provide details about how that faction feels about you. Really. Disfavored. Favor or wrath. Okay, interesting. You will often see the names of important characters and locations displayed in a gold text color. The tooltip on these glossary entries provide you with important information about the world. Okay, but what do the green ones mean? Oh, green is a conquest decision then, is it? Okay, interesting. So, we can glare silently. I'm in a hurry to deliver a message to the Archons. I come bearing an edict of Kairos. Our soldiers will complete their tasks or die. Ah, we can use our lore. Can you hear that hum in the air, that glow around the rocks? The avalanche is Kairos' magic. The Overlord has sealed the valley. You gain 21 lore experience points. Nice. Your senses see more than mine, good Fatebender. I do not pretend to know much about such things. But if that was Kairos' magic and you're here on important business, well, you don't have to be the Archon of Secrets to guess that you're here to proclaim an edict. What does Kairos have in store for the enemy? 10 years of festering plague? An edict of twisted bones? I came bearing an edict of Kairos. Well, she already knows I come bearing an edict of Kairos. I guess it's that they'll complete their task or die. The edict is leveled against us. Her eyes widen with fear, her posture slackens. But the Scarlet Chorus prevents us from taking action. Why would the Overlord punish both of... She clears her throat with a sigh. Forgive me, it is not my place to question. We should have conquered the enemy within weeks of arriving in the valley. The delay reflects poorly on all of us. If we follow Kairos' will and stop the insurrection, no harm will come to any of us. 2 Archons and their armies cannot take a citadel they've taken before. Of course, Kairos is displeased. Subterfuge. Your first instinct is to blame the Scarlet Chorus. No wonder Kairos resorts to an edict to enforce order. No, she caught herself. She's just frustrated. Yeah, we just do what he says and we'll all be okay. You gained favor with the disfavored. That's ironic. If following orders and killing the locals will save our lives, you don't have to tell me twice. And I sure hope you don't have to tell the Archons twice either. She looks at you with a nervous smile. Still, this is all coming from the Firestarter, the Fatebender that made fire bubble up from the soil and reduce the Vellum Citadel to ash. So you'll forgive me if I'm still terrified all the same. I love that. I love that conquest. That's so cool how it's immediately affecting things. Well, you've traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure the Archons still want to hear from you at... Her voice falls silent, her attention snapping eastward with alarm. Did you hear that? More runners, 3rd time this week. The Oathbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from outside the valley. She points over to the collapsed path by which you arrived, but they're a bit too late for that now. Come, let's show these Oathbreakers a good fight. What are the Oathbreakers? In honor of the Vendrian Guard reneging on the surrender of 429, soldiers in both the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus now refer to these Tiersmen as Oathbringers. It is perhaps one of the few points of agreement between the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus. Good, I'm glad they can agree on at least something. Okay, so we've got combat, I guess.
I got it.
Can I pause? Okay, so spacebar pauses. Combat. Tyranny uses a pausable real-time combat system. Because you will often manage more than one character at a time, it's a good idea to pause the game, issue orders, and resume real-time to see the orders play out. The options menu also contains many choices for automatic pausing when certain conditions are met. Example given, the start of combat. Press spacebar to pause and unpause the game. Your character can always perform basic attacks using their equipped weapon or their fists if fighting unarmed. Characters also have special abilities and spells they can use in combat. When a character is selected, their ability bar displays their hotkeyed abilities. As new abilities and spells are gained, they are automatically added to the ability bar. All of your character's abilities and spells can be accessed by selecting the category icon at the bottom of the selected frame. Abilities are grouped into talents, spells, combo abilities, artifact abilities, reputation abilities, and stances. Good lord, that's a lot of categories. Icons for the weapon sets and quick items follow. Okay, so... Oh, I see. So, talents, spells, weapons, potions. What's that, a health potion? Yeah. Okay. To use an ability, left-click on the ability icon or press the hotkey corresponding to its location on the ability bar. Your cursor will change to indicate whether your mouse is over a valid target for the ability. If the cursor has a red X in the corner, you are not over a valid target. If the cursor has a pair of feet in the corner, you will need to move closer to the target to use the ability. For abilities that target party members, like healing spells, you can click on the party's portrait to target the ability on that party member. All characters in the game, friend or foe, have 5 primary defenses against attacks: parry, dodge, endurance, will, and magic. These defenses are based on the character's attributes, equipped items, and other effects. A character's accuracy is based on their skill with the type of weapon they are wielding. Accuracy is compared to the appropriate defenses when an attack is made to determine how likely it is that attack will hit. There are 4 possible results from any attack: hit, critical hit, graze, and miss. A critical hit increases your damage, while a graze reduces it. With each attack, you gain experience in the weapon skill used to make the attack. Even a miss will grant some experience. Right, so if I want to use... what's this one? Charged Fist. Oh yeah, let's use Charged Fist on this guy. So now I'm ready to use it, and if I unpause, I'm charging it up. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. Let's use Shield Slam.
On it.
So then we'll wait for me to use it, and... oh, that's nice. I can also use Thrust. Let's try that out. Okay, Thrust happens almost immediately. I like that. And then we might as well try Searing Fist. Ooh, he's dead. Okay, I'm gonna pause, because she's running away. Level up, Fatebinder talents. There are 6 categories of talents available for your character: leadership, defense, power, agility, ranged, and magic. With each level you gain 1 point to purchase a talent from any of these categories. Within a talent tree, each tier of talents unlocks based on how many talent points you have spent within that tree. To learn a talent, select its icon, then the save button to confirm your choice. Each companion has their own talent trees with unique abilities. These abilities unlock in the same manner as your character's talents. As you spend points within a companion's talent tree, further tiers of talents become available. Interesting. Can I loot his body? I can. Whetstone, okay. What does that do? 2 armor penetrated by attacks. Okay. And Potion of Protection. Neat. Can we have a conversation about this? We should be vigilant and deal with the remaining Oathbreakers in the pass. This seems like a suicide mission. What do the Vendrian Guard hope to accomplish? I've been traveling for days. How much longer until I reach the Archons? Yeah, really. You're almost to your destination. Once we clear the path of the enemy, pass of the enemy, just head south down the foothills. From there, should just be a matter of hours to the encampment. Okay. Can I just, okay, squeeze through the gap? Or press your weight against the boulder. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That was kind of inconsiderate. Yeah, hey, you wanna... Aurora, you wanna come and help me fight? Okay, fine. Then let's use... Actually, let's stun the one with the great...
I got it.
Great hammer. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, yeah, that lightning attack is nice.
On it.
So are those yellow dots his health?
Let
me see. Nice. Oh, okay, so this lowering timer isn't a timer just for the specific attack. It's kind of a universal timer, so I could use...
I got it.
There, okay. So attacks can be used pretty much immediately if the timer is right about to go down. It's just a universal timer until my next attack, no matter what it is ready. That's interesting. Oof, dead. Okay, who is this? And can I loot the body? Sun Soldier's Javelin, okay. Can't loot that body. Who are you? Don't bother with me, go down the pass. Drastus. The soldier clutches his gut and winces. You can see a hint of entrails between his fingers. Oh, that is awful. You're wounded and it's not trivial. He laughs through clenched teeth. This but a scratch. I've seen twice as worse 10 times over. He doubles over in pain, gagging and shivering. If you'll let me help... I said I'm fine. The soldier moans and shakes his head. Graven Ash protects. You go on and help the others. Alright, buddy, I really don't think you're up to fighting, but you're not gonna let me help, so good luck out there.